So morning guys, it's a quick view of me. I'm on my way down to Middleton, down to the canal down there. I'm going to try and do everything on this phone so that I don't keep having to put my phone down so I can chat to you. So yeah, just on my way to Middleton. I'm going to have a chat today, hopefully. So this is Westport Lake. Quick look at the cafe. See what that's like. It's busy. Oh yeah, quite busy. Wow. Right, Sainsbury's ice cream there. So I'll go for a walk around the lake. So you can walk along the top by the canal, which is what I really ought to do. I can come down by the lake later and go back up and walk along the canal. Have a look at some canal boats. So I was just thinking this morning. I was out on my walk. I was walking up here, and I suddenly had my ankle pain come back. I did a sharp turn or something, and the ankle pain came back, and I sort of went into panic mode a little bit because I thought, oh God, that's all I need. I've just come out for a walk, and so that worried me. And I stopped in the field and I had a play with my ankle. There was definitely a sharp pain then. I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to have to go and hobble and find a bus back. But I messed around with it for a while and it's got better. So I have managed to get to this park, Westport Lake. And it has stopped hurting for the moment, but I am walking carefully on it. It just made me think about how people cope living on their own. I don't know if any of you do live on your own. I just wondered how people cope living on their own. So, of those of you who lived on your own, have you lived a long time on your own? And can you cope with emergencies? I find that because I've been living on my own for such a long time, that I go into automatic coping strategy. So I don't panic as such. I go into a shutdown and I just stand there and I think, right, what am I going to do next? How am I going to deal with this? And as I've got older, it's got more important because I've realised that a lot more things are starting to creak and ache and go and stuff. And I'm starting to think I really need to make sure that I keep myself fit and healthy, which is what I do. So that when things do go wrong, then you know I hopefully I'll be able to cope with them. It's a railway line here. But it did make me think about how people, if you live on your own, how do you cope? If you live on your own, how do you cope? Do you cope okay? I think for most of us who've lived on our own, I think we have inbuilt coping strategies now, don't we? I know that I have. I don't go into panic mode, well, not as such, you can't see it, but I do sort of stand still and think, right, how am I going to deal with this? And I think about it, and I'm so glad that I have these coping mechanisms because when things do go wrong, you need to be able to know how to deal with them, don't you? So I just wondered how many of you, if you do live on your own, so I just wondered if you do live on your own and how you cope with things when they go wrong. Do you have family members or people that you go to get help? Or, do you just cope with it on your own? You think about coping with it on your own. I mean, for me, I'm realised that I'm getting on a bit and I'm getting far more creaks and pains, and I've really got to keep an eye on my health and my physical fitness, and I do that a lot. And when I come out on a day like today and I hurt my ankle again, it makes me realise that I have got to keep doing it and keep doing it, even though it's so boring. But if I want to keep walking, I have actually got to do this. So my biggest fears really is falling, um, tripping up and falling, or just falling, because especially if I hurt myself afterwards now, because as you're getting on, you find that you're not so stable, although I'm really very stable, but you've got to make sure you keep stable. But I worry about that a bit. I am not registered with a doctor. I've not been registered with a doctor for many years now. Well, for good, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, really. After I left Chester, the Chester doctors, I really didn't get registered anywhere else. I'm not registered. So if I needed help now, I would have to go to an NHS walk-in. That's where I'd have to get my help. And there are quite a few around. I see the signs. I've never been in one, but I think if you have to go into one, you take a rucky for 3 days meals, don't you? And a few blankets to keep you warm, and possibly something to sit on, because they're so overcrowded. You see all these videos, don't you, of these overcrowded corridors in the NHS. So that would be where I would have to go if I did something, if I fell or anything. That's where I would have to end up going. I can't make an appointment with a doctor. I could go on to NHS online or phone someone. So yeah, that's what I would have to do. So I've now lived for over 30 years on my own, and I'm a good brownie now. I'm prepared, you know. I'm prepared for when things go wrong. And if I'm not prepared, I know how to cope, and that's really important. It's a really important strategy, and I'm so glad I have that. So there's a couple of scary videos. I was watching YouTube the other day, and there's a couple of scary videos that are coming out now that was really quite worrying. It wasn't in the UK, and I'll put a link in the comments for you to go and have a watch of it. But it's called, what's it called? It's called something like Trafficked Seniors. So basically, it's in America, and it's all about disappearing older people, how they're just disappearing into nowhere. And one guy that was interviewed, um, you know, she asked him why he was living in this home. It wasn't a very good home. And he said it was important for him to have a roof over his head. And I thought, oh, I understand that. And he was probably in his 80s. And I understood that. And I think, that's something I have to worry about down the line, isn't it? But this video was actually about care homes, unlicensed care homes that have been opened up. And basically, it's all about hospitals being overcrowded and offering a senior out of the hospital to anybody who will take them, and they don't really investigate where they're sending them, and these seniors end up in these really appalling homes where they're not well looked after at all. So yeah, I'll put that link in. So that was quite a scary thought. You get into retirement age, you think you're going into a care home that will take care of you, and you actually end up probably being a slave, or a slave labor, or doing all the cleaning. And can you imagine it? Because I've worked in old people's homes, whatever you call them, nursing homes, and most of the staff are good, but you do have staff that don't care. But it is closed off, and you don't complain. The elderly people sat in their chairs all day. won't complain. They'll take what's given to them. And so you can see it's a bit like boarding school. It's closed off and you can't say anything outside of it. Otherwise, who'd believe you, and you'd get bullied if you did. So you don't. So if you're still young and employed, I want you to think about what you're going to do when you retire. So make sure you put money away. There's these retirement complexes now, aren't they? They're quite good. They're extremely expensive because you've got like someone on site and you've got a hairdresser there and a little cafe and all that sort of thing, which is a really, really good idea. But they're so expensive, but it's definitely something you need to think about. When I was in council accommodation in Ellesmere Port, there were these little council bungalows around me, and I thought they were brilliant. And I think some of you live in them that follow me, and I think if I was normal, that would be where that would be where I would want to live if I was normal, because they do look so cozy, and you only have other retired people around you, so you don't have any noise or anything. So if you're on the council list, I don't know how it works now, but usually you're on there for life if you behave yourself, and you get the chance to get a bungalow when you retire or in your retirement. You've got to grab it, because I think they're one of the best places to go in retirement. So let me know what's bothering you. Little steps up here. Let me know if you live on your own, or if you live with a partner, but you would worry about living on your own. And let me know what's worrying you. And these little ponds here everywhere. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this.